Germany is determined to get the European constitutional project rolling again with a roadmap drawn up by this June. Europe has been seized by a crisis of immobility ever since French and Dutch voters ditched the constitution in referendums. Chancellor Angela Merkel, heading the EU presidency in the first half of this year, thinks it's about time to crank up the motor again. She wants a treaty ratified and the bloc's institutions renovated in time for the European elections in June 2009. That's a tight schedule, and Poland's President Lech Kaczynski is the first in line to contest it.
Before the European Parliament elections in 2009, the text of the treaty itself will be ready but not yet ratified. There are countries like Germany, notably Angela Merkel, that want ratification to coincide. Nice goal, but it's not realistic.
It's hardly surprising to see Head of State Kaczynski reluctant to relaunch Europe. He was elected in 2005, and his twin brother Jarosław is the head of one of Europe's most nationalist governments. This analyst in Warsaw calls that reluctance the fruit of inexperience.
Poland has only been a member of the EU for 3 years and still has to learn about how it works. The present government has built its political capital on opposition to the constitutional treaty. When the governing Law and Justice Party, PIS, was in the opposition, it won points through overt Euroscepticism. Some PIS members were even against Poland joining the EU, like the current president of the Diet Parliament. Therefore, this party is obliged to show its electorate it is defending what it believes to be the Polish national interest.
And so it's without enthusiasm that Warsaw goes into this negotiation, especially over one of its demands. Merkel could not convince the 27 member states to write an explicit reference to Christianity into a common declaration made last March the 25th. That was in Berlin for the 50th anniversary of the signing of the EU's founding Treaty of Rome. This is deplorable, says the European policy advisor some people call President Kaczynski's Sherpa.
I think if Poland had had the EU presidency and if the Pope had been Polish, in my opinion the business would have been settled positively. But today the presidency is German, the Pope is German, and it appears impossible to find a solution. Perhaps that translates into a lack of determination on Germany's part.
Apart from its references to the Catholic faith, Poland's main demand is to renegotiate voting power in the Council of EU Ministers. The Poles don't want to have less decision-making influence than the current Nice Treaty gives them. The head of the European Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee at the moment is Polish.
The new system being proposed is based directly on population. This is a demographic factor which diminishes Poland's role. It halves its weight. That's why the Polish side is suggesting a solution of compromise.
The Polish idea is to use the square root of each country's population to calculate the council voting ratios. Germany's would shrink under this formula. The Kaczynski twins don't trust Germany. Its previous chancellor clinched an accord with the Russians to build a gas pipeline, and Poland was cut out of the loop. The Poles are unhappy about it.
The Polish government's analysis is that Germany is leading a more and more self-centered policy on national, bilateral and European levels. It's not a good analysis, but it is their analysis. I think the German case poses a serious problem for the Polish government. It's the main reason that Poland is against the new voting system in the Council, which reinforces Germany, and that's why Poland is looking for a solution, not so much to reinforce Poland, but rather to limit Germany's influence.
Germany continues to hope that negotiation will bring Poland back to a view Berlin considers more realistic. That's the conviction of the previous head of the European Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee.
For me, there's always give and take in negotiations such as these. That's the principle of compromise. I can imagine we will make concessions in Poland's favour on one point or another. It's possible we go a long way on the question of energy security in response to Poland's worries about this.
Kaczynski and Kaczynski are not taking this for granted. From Warsaw's point of view, accepting that the constitutional treaty remain the basis for European renegotiation can be seen as a major concession. The presidential advisor describes other Polish demands.
Like other member states, one considers that one can easily renounce symbols which are more linked to a state than to the European Union and which are found in the constitutional treaty, such as the word constitution, a long-term president of the council, such as an EU foreign affairs minister, such as the flag, such as citizenship, such as the primacy of community law, which is to say all the elements which make one think of a state.
The Swedish Vice President of the European Commission, Margot Wallström, warns the red line is being crossed. She advises caution against unravelling the constitutional project.
The solutions that were found, the balance and the package deal that was reached should not be reopened. It is easier to agree on the things that are new, that have come new and that could be added, and also easier to maybe take away some things, but not touch the core deal that was struck once. And I think this goes for Poland as well.
The firmness of Poland's position is unsettling to the 18 countries that have already ratified the constitution. Their leading politicians met in Madrid in January to call for swift and limited renegotiation.
At this meeting, certain elementary facts were highlighted. 2/3 of the countries have ratified, the majority of the population. And we are open to finding a solution, but on the basis of moving towards the ratification of the constitutional treaty. What we do not accept is to say the constitution is dead.
If Poland refused the budge and blocked negotiation, this would usher in a new phase in European communal construction, says this German professor at Natolin, near Warsaw, where the College of Europe welcomes students from all over the continent.
In that case, there would be a European crisis, a real one. Then the question might arise, are there not certain countries which do not wish to be members of a structured union, for which another status would be found? Well, if Poland wanted to be like Norway or Switzerland, I hope that would not happen, but if there really was a blockage and everyone agreed, except certain countries, a way out would have to be found.
The risk of the more enthusiastic countries making up a core group, reinforcing cooperation in more political integration, is a prospect understandable yet saddening, according to the Polish elder statesman Bronisław Geremek.
I want Poland to be a fully enfranchised member of the European Union, always. But I understand the situation as it is. If there were difficulties within the 27-member bloc, one cannot make it impossible for the other countries to move forward.
Geremek hopes that his fellow citizens' pro-Europe feelings will sway the Kaczynski brothers. A Eurobarometer survey estimates that 6 out of 10 Poles are in favour of the constitution.